Alright, so let's finish up this tic-tac-toe now. So here's what we had last time. The board and like the X and the O. And we've made a prefab out of them. The O object and the X object. So now we can delete these two. Because we've made a prefab out of them, so we can just like instantiate them at runtime. So let's make a new script, create C# script. Let's name this game handler. Okay. Let's open it up. Okay. And what do we need? Well, we need a reference to the two prefabs that we've had so that we can like make them at runtime. So let's do public game object x obj and public game object o obj. Okay, and then we also need another thing. We need the a two-dimensional array to represent the board. So let's I'll make this int board. The board or whatever is a two-dimensional array. Okay, and then we create it at in the start function. Remember, this runs only once in the beginning of the game. So the board is equals to new int array, and it's 3 rows and 3 columns. Okay. Oh, it's we cannot do this. We need to do that. We need to do that. Okay. Now, yeah. So now let's go back to the thing. Let's make a new object. Game object, 3D object, cube. No box collider, no mesh renderer. Let's name this game handler obj. Let's add component and game handler. Okay, you can see there are 2 slots for xobj and oobj, so drag them in, oobj and xobj. Okay, control S to save it. And then yeah, so we've made the board now. We need to get inputs, right? So if input dot get key up, key code dot, we're gonna do like, if I press 1, then the first thing in that board will be filled. So alpha. Oh, and we also need a boolean for which player it's currently playing. So bool player 1, and we set this to true in the beginning. So player 1 is equals to true. So player 1 starts, right? And then yeah, so and we can have another thing like input and the input to get the inputs from all the if statements. So is equals to, let's do 0 in the beginning. Okay, and then we do the input is equals to 1, right? And then we just do the same thing, else that, and then alpha 2, so input is 2. Okay, eight and 9. Okay, so now that we get the input, we can just check it. Okay, now if the input is not equals to 0, which means there is an input, what do we need to do? Well, we need to first check if that point in the board is empty, right? So check if position is empty in board, right? So now what we can do is so we get a value from 1 to 9, right? So we need to first get the row and the column. So int row and int column. Okay, int row. What is the row? Well, 1 to 3 is the first row, right? So what we can do is we can do the input minus 1, so that would be 0 to 2 for the first row, and then mod 3. So mod 3. Okay, oh no, it should be divide by 3. Divide by 3, yeah. So that way we get the row, and then for the column what we can do is so the input minus 1, that minus row times 3. Okay, I think that's correct. So now we got the row and the column, right? Actually, let's check first. Debug.log the row and plus row dot toString, and then debug.log the call plus call dot toString. Okay, let's check this. Play it. I'm gonna press 1, column 0, right? And what is the row? Row 0, column 0. So that's correct. And then we press let's say 5. So that's row 1, column 1, that's correct. Let's do like 8. Row 2, column 1, so that's correct. Let's do 9. Row 2, column 2, so that's correct. Okay, so we got the row and the column. Cool. Now let's not do this debug. Now that we know the row and the column, we can check if that particular row and column is still empty. Now if the board at, let's do column first then row, column first then row, because we want to do X and then Y, right? So column and row is equal to 0. This means the board is still empty, the spot is still empty, right? So we fill it, right? So the board of column and row is equals to, now which player is it? So player 1 question mark. If it's player 1, we want it to be X, so let's do 1, otherwise 2, right? Okay, and once we've moved, we can just say player 1 is equals to not player 1. Okay, that would switch between players, that would fill the board, and we need to just update the graphics now, and that isn't so hard. We can just we've passed the thing, right? So but yeah, we need a reference to the board as well. public game object board. Okay, let's pass it in. There. So let's take the board, put it in. Okay, Control S to save it. Go back here, go back there. Let's update the thing now. So board dot get child dot transform dot get child of the input -1. Okay, that would get the transform thing. So dot get child, or actually let's get this thing first. Transform spot now is equals to this. Okay, and then we can do spot now dot get child of 0. That would give us the text that we've made in the last video, and we can just say dot get component what is it, text mesh. Where am I getting this text mesh from? It's over here. See, board 1. This is child 0 of board, and this is child 0 of 1. We could just change the text to nothing. See, it would make it empty, right? So that's what I'm trying to do through code. Okay, so let's go back here. Text mesh of dot text is nothing. Okay, so that would take away that thing, right? And then we want to instantiate an X or O, and we would do that by saying player 1 question mark. This is a ternary operator. I expect you to know this. If you don't, then it's like an if-else statement. Like if it's player 1, then you instantiate something, otherwise it's something else. But this is a shorthand. It's a very short notation to make that happen. So if player 1, then we want it to be what? X object, right? X obj. You can read here, object original. We want the position and the rotation. So where is the position? Position is at spot now dot, no, it's not even, spot now dot get child of 0, which is the number. We want to replace that with an X or an O. So dot position. Okay, we get the position, and the rotation we get, and this has to be colon OOBJ, and then we just copy this here, and do dot transform dot rotation. Same thing over here, dot transform dot rotation. Okay, cool. So that has to be it. Actually, we can do, like, we can play now, except for the winning condition. We'll do winning condition 1, see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right, 7, 8, 9. So it's like offset a little bit, so let's not do that. Let's do so instead of this position, let's do spot now dot transform dot position plus some vector vector 3 dot forward. That's good. Let's try that. It should be minus. Yeah, see, perfect. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So vector 3 dot forward is just like 001 vector. So this is like the world forward axis, which is the z-axis basically, and it's normalized to 001. So yeah, so we have this. So now let's just check for the winning condition, right? So first let's do bool has 1, okay, is equals to false. Okay, now if has 1, then we don't want to do all these things, so just return. Okay, and then we can check after the move, before switching, so after moving and before switching player. Okay, okay, so we want to check now. Well, let's make a new function. Bool has bool 1. Oh no. Bool 1. First, let's check horizontal, right? So now, for row is equals to 0. Semicolon, row is smaller than 3, semicolon, row plus plus. Okay, so for each row we want to check the 3 things, right? So if the board of that the column, which is 0, 0 and row is equals to this thing again, but this has to be 1, and this thing again, this has to be 1, is equals to this thing again, it has to be 2. So if it's same and the first one is not equals to 0, which means like someone has already filled it, so we can just return true. Okay, and this is what check horizontal. Okay, and then we can do check vertical now. So let's copy this and paste it there. Say check vertical. Okay, for each column we want to check now. Column. Okay, now for each column, this has to be col, and this has to be 0, this has to be col, and this has to be 1, and then this has to be col, and this has to be 1, and then this has to be col, this has to be 2, this has to be col, and this has to be 1. I mean 0, right? So that's it, return true. And then finally we need to check the diagonals. Okay, so now check diagonal. If the board of 0, 0 is equals to the board of 1, 1, and the board of 1, 1 is equals to the board of 2, 2, and the board of 0, 0 is not equals to 0. So this means that return true, right? And then we check the other diagonal. So let's copy this, paste it. The board of 0, 1, because it's x and y, is equals to the board of 1, 1, and then the board of 1, 1 is equals to the board of 2, 0, and then the board of 0, 1 is not equals to 0. Return true. Otherwise, return false. Done. Okay. Now has 1 is equals to 1. Okay. So we got that in has 1, and then it would stop the execution. We can press anything else. Okay. Yeah, so that's it, right? And then we just debug.log here just to check. We say if has 1, and then we just say player, and then we say 1 or 0 depending on that. So plus player 1 question mark 1 colon 0 plus 1 colon 2 plus has 1. Okay, int player is equals to this, and then we say the player dot toString. Okay, is that good? That's good. Okay, now go back and we can play. Let's check this. So if I press 1, then it's X, and I cannot press 1 again because it will check if it's empty or not. And if I press 2, then it's O, and then I press 5, press 6, press 9. Player 1 has 1 over here. See? Player 1 has 1. And that's correct because XXX, right? And then yeah, let's try again. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and 8. Player 2 has 1 because 000, right? And then yeah, so and finally let's make another game object, 3D object, and 3D text. We'll make this smaller, 0.3 0.3 here. Okay, and we can put this somewhere, like somewhere over there maybe. Okay, or let's put over here. Okay, and then we can just like change this, player 1 turn. Okay, and then we can change this through script as well. So let's go here, public game object status. Let's change, let's go back here, drag this thing in to the status. Okay, and then what we can do is see, we can change this to so yeah, so if player 1 then we can just say status dot get component text mesh of that text is equals to player 1 turn. Okay, else we'll just copy this, player 2 turn. Okay, and then over here, instead of debugging, we can just say status dot get component text mesh of the text is equals to this. Okay, and now if we play, you can see player 2 turn. If I press 1 again, it's still player 2 because it's filled, right? So 5. Now it's player 1's turn. Okay, I'm pressing 5, I'm pressing 1, but nothing is happening. So let's do 2. Okay, let's do 6 and 3. Player 1 has won. Okay, we can make player 2 win now. 5, 6, 8, 9, 4, and 3. Player 2 has won. Okay, and then let's do one last thing. If has won, then we can just say if input dot get key up, key code dot space bar, and then we can say application dot load level. Let's do level 0, and let's change the build settings. File, build settings, change this, add open scenes, so that becomes 0 over here, and save it. We should be good. I press space, nothing happens. 1, 2, 3. Oh, what if 6, 8, this thing didn't work. The other side of the diagonal didn't work. So let's check what happens there. The other side of the diagonal. So x, this has to be 2. 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 0. This has to be 2. Okay, let's try again. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 7, 9. Player 1 has won. Okay, good. Now let's check the other diagonal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 7. Player 1 has won. Okay, what if no one won? Okay, now let's check. Let's check if bool no one won. Okay, we'll take the board, so we'll just do this, or actually let's do column first. And then let's do rows. here. Row. Okay. Bool 1 is equals to true. Now we're saying if bool sum1 1, okay, is true. Now if there's any spot, so the board of column row is equals to 0, then we want to return false. Okay, we want to return false, yeah. Otherwise return true. Return true. No one 1. So we don't need this. Okay. So if there's anything that's not filled yet, then we say no one 1 is false. Right? So if no one 1, then we just do this, copy, paste, I'll just do else here, else if. So if it's not has 1, if it has 1, this will not get executed, so that's good. So we change this to no one has 1, no one has 1. Okay, and has 1 is still true. Has 1 is still true. So that this whole thing will not get executed, and we're done, really. Let's check. Okay, so player 1 turn 1, 5, 2, 3, 7, 4, 6, right? 8 and 9. No one has 1. Okay, perfect. So we got a nice guy, and I press space now. It reloads the thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. 6, 9, 8. No one has 1. So it's working now pretty well. So peace.